Hello lovelies. A bunch of things have led me to want to make this video, some of which are personal and some of which I suppose I can share with you. I haven't been feeling the prettiest lately, and I don't really want to make this video about me. I don't want to moan on about how I don't feel as pretty as the girls on the covers of magazines and how some beauty guru's latest blush makes me want to hurl my own makeup in a lake and crawl into a duvet forever. I want to talk about the different stages that we all go through and the environments in which we find ourselves in that have an impact on our self-image. During school, we have a very limited view on what we think pretty is. We're all very impressionable and we're very likely to believe what most people deem pretty. We just follow the crowd and our hormones are raging. We want to be seen as attractive and, you know, a sexual being because that's just nature, and so we often judge ourselves and our self-image very harshly in high school. I remember at school how the pretty people always stuck together and they were always somehow the most popular too. And I also failed to recognize that they had their own problems, insecurities and issues. But because of the way they looked, I just assumed that they were better than me. I suppose this is just part of growing up and it's something we all need to go through. When you hit university, things become easier in a way. People start to look at you for who you are as an individual and they start to embrace your uniqueness. But it's also quite hard in a way because in your late teens, early 20s, you are looking for a partner. Well, most people are wanting at least to experiment with a mate, so to speak. And from my experience, a lot of meeting people that you potentially are going to get with happened at parties or out clubbing. Now, girls, and maybe some guys, I'm sure, would spend hours getting ready, putting on the makeup, choosing the outfit, going out, and most of the time, we would end up going home with having nobody kiss us, and we would land up in bed feeling really miserable in our dress that took 2 hours to decide upon, and we'd think to ourselves, why is life so unfair? I remember going out to clubs quite often and guys would look at me and then they would just carry on walking past me to the next one, you know, and I used to think that that's just sucks because, like, it's not my fault if you don't like me, I just want to be noticed. I forgot or didn't realize that, you know, when you're out clubbing, everything's so much about what's on the surface. First of all, you can hardly have a conversation with somebody that you potentially want to get with because often the music is way too loud, or one is drunk, or both of you are drunk, and so, you know, you don't really have much to go by apart from face value. Obviously, I'm just talking in general here. Lots of people, I guess, go out and have a chat and then go back in, but I'm just saying it's all very on the surface, all very superficial. But you do learn to wander around this. Later on, you start going out with your friends just to have fun, and it becomes more meaningful when you're just, you know, doing it to be with your friends and stuff. And also, the way you meet guys comes in its own time. It might happen to you that you meet somebody in a club and that's awesome, and then you end up falling in love and having babies, but sometimes it can happen in other ways and you have to put yourself out there. For instance, I went on a blind date with Andrew. I didn't meet him in a club. And because we were forced to go on a date, the structure is that you sit down and you talk to each other, we had to do that, and it became more about who we were than what we looked like. And I think I've been extremely lucky to experience something like this, which I consider the opposite of ugly. I fell in love with him and not what he looked like, and I hope he did that too. Now, after university, and this is the part that I'm living in right now, things get a whole lot easier. All of a sudden, your trade is not about the way you look, and it's about how hard you work, and what your opinions are, and what you strive for in life, and how kind you are, and what a nice person you are. And all of a sudden, you can kind of just breathe and be who you are. But still, sometimes ugly creeps back into your life, and you start thinking about your ugliness, and that's probably just because of what we see in the malls and what we see in magazines and TV and Instagram and YouTube. Superficial is just all over the show. It's very, very difficult to escape superficial. But I think there has to be a way to beat ugly. Something has got to give. And I'm not saying that we all need to throw out our makeup and team together to combat pretty. What I'm saying is that we need to start looking at ourselves differently. We need to start looking at ourselves for who we are and what we've done in life and what we want to do in life. And just like the inside rather than what we look like. And I really believe that it takes one person to start a slogan, and you know, it takes one person to start a trend and a fashion, so why not let it be me? Okay, I'm being a little bit, what's the word? Ambitious? But I'm allowed to be, aren't I? I'm allowed to be ambitious here, especially when it means that we all feel a little better about ourselves. So today I'm asking you to look at yourself differently, treat yourself kindly, look at yourself for who you are, not what you look like, and do the same to others. I promise to be kinder to myself if you promise to be kinder to yourself. Is this a deal? The only way I'll know that you've decided to have this deal with me is if you comment below that you are pretty. So all you need to say is, I am pretty, and I need 200 of those to be satisfied. 200 of you need to say I am pretty in a comment below, and if we reach 200, and I'll be counting, trust me, I'll be like, you did it, you did it, you did it, yay! Then I'll change the title of this video. I'll cross out I feel ugly and I'll turn it to I feel pretty. And then we will have done something. We will have achieved a goal. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. You're worth it. As I say, I hate being cliched, but you're worth it and you're pretty, and f those people that think you're ugly. Sorry, I had to do that. Okay, cheers, I'll see you next week. Bye! And you get away. Hey, it's so nice to have you in a video with me again. I feel so much more comfortable when I have someone else with me. I feel less like a maniac.